All right, welcome. This is our task 5.9. This is Kara's argument with the perpendicular bisectors. And the question is, would this segment right here, is this a perpendicular bisector if it goes through the same point? So the idea is that, do it in this, that there's a perpendicular bisector here. That means you split it into two equal parts, and it's at a 90-degree angle. And then there's also a perpendicular bisector here. That means that it bisects it into two congruent parts. It's also a 90-degree angle. So then the question is, if you have another segment that intersects P, that is perpendicular to AB, is it a perpendicular bisector? In other words, is this segment and this segment the same? We're going to try and prove that. So let's see what we can do. Again, we're going to use triangles here, right? If you can show congruent triangles, then you can show that corresponding parts are congruent. So the first triangle I'm going to go after is this one. Whoops, not that. And this one. And I'm going to use side angle side, right? Because I know it's perpendicular and I know corresponding sides. So because of that, I can now say that this side and its corresponding side must be congruent. And then I'm going to try and do the same thing with two other triangles. I'm going to say this triangle and this triangle must be congruent. Again, it's side angle side. So that means that corresponding parts, the hypotenuse, must be congruent also. So now we got that, which is nice. Now, the question again is AH and BH congruent? Is it really a bisector? Well, what we can say here, we know that it's perpendicular, right? We know that these are right angles, and we know that this is a shared side and this is another leg, so we can use hypotenuse leg to say that the two triangles are congruent. So if we do that, we're going to say that this triangle is congruent to this triangle. And so I didn't list all the steps, but I think, one of the important things is the last two is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that triangle APH is congruent to triangle BPH. Excuse me, sorry about that. BPH. And if those triangles are congruent, then I can also say that corresponding sides are congruent. So I'm going to say that AH is congruent to BH. And again, this first one was hypotenuse leg because we knew it was a 90-degree angle, so it's a right triangle. And this is, whoa, we lost it. Let's bring it back. That's all we've done, huh? Not bad. I don't know how I lost that, huh? Let's see what we got left. Hopefully it's still there. Here we go. Okay, so now we've got corresponding parts of congruent triangles. Oh, that was the previous one. So yeah, but that's going to be our reason. We're going to say corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent because we know that these yellow and green triangles are congruent. So therefore this segment and this segment must also be congruent. And that's what we were trying to prove, was that this segment is a perpendicular bisector given that it's perpendicular and that it splits it. So we've